Got a great show for you today as we inch closer and closer and closer to the trade deadline for all you lunatic baseball fans. And no one's getting Shohei Ohtani. It looks like Soto may not be going anywhere. And what the hell's going on? Good afternoon, Evan. How are you today, kid?
Hi. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Nice.
All you baseball freaks going bonkers right now.
Dude, this is Christmas Eve. All of a sudden, I'm sitting in your office, and we hear Josh Hader to the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. And by the way, Mets
no
fans.
impact on the Yankees or Mets.
Well, impact on the Mets because it would have been pretty nice to add him and put him ahead of Edwin Diaz.
So stop right there. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Here's the way, and it's really fascinating, and we're all guilty of it. Anytime any other team, right, signs a player,
Acquires a player.
pardon me, trades for a player, acquires a player, every Yankee fan and every Met fan has the same exact reaction. It could have been me. Bang. What the hell are we doing? How come we didn't get that guy?
Well, Craig, what are the Mets looking for at the trade deadline? The number one priority.
Go ahead.
Bullpen help.
Middle relief.
We need, the New York Mets need bullpen help. The Yankees addressed it today with a minor move that could turn out to be a major move in Scott Efros, but the Mets need bullpen help.
Okay.
So when the best reliever that I was not convinced was going to be available, the closer for a first-place team, gets traded, isn't it natural to react by saying, hey, what about us?
Yes, but it's funny because it's both fan bases. I'm not picking one over the other.
Yeah.
And it's every single player. Like, there's players being signed I've never heard of. And I go online because I want to know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And the reaction's the same. What the hell are we doing?
Well, because we need things. Like Yankee fans need things, New York Met fans need things. There are things, and we may debate what the biggest thing they need to address is.
Right.
But I think for the New York Mets, it's bullpen help. I don't even
Okay.
think it's that debatable or disputable. So when Josh Hader gets traded, and I admit after seeing the package that Milwaukee got back, I don't think the Mets were going to be able to match that. But yeah, could you imagine putting Josh Hader in front of Edwin Diaz in that bullpen?
Well, does Josh Hader want to be a setup guy?
I don't
right?
give a rat's ass what he
But
wants.
maybe that's part of why the New York Mets didn't get Hader.
No.
I mean, you could make the argument if Hader was on the block, considering how Clay Holmes has pitched in the last couple of weeks, the New York Yankees should have been in the market for Josh Hader.
I don't disagree.
Right?
I don't disagree.
So, but the point is, so far, the Yankees got this Efros guy today. I guess he's good at getting righties out. The New York Mets have made some relatively minor acquisitions over the last week or so, right? But we're all waiting for the big shoe.
Yes.
Met fans are waiting to acquire someone of note. Yankee fans, clearly same boat, waiting to acquire someone of note. Here's the interesting thing that happened today, apparently. Ohtani was on the market. And according to all the insiders, I got to believe that they know what they're talking about. It came down to the White Sox, the Yankees, and one other team I'm missing right now off the top of my head.
The San Diego Padres.
Pardon me,
Because
okay.
they're in on every single
Seems
baseball
like they
player.
are, right?
Yes.
And the Yankees made an offer. And for whatever reason, the Angels said the offers they got from the respective teams wasn't enough to move now their best player because Trout's out with the back injury. So that's not really a debatable spot. Now, apparently, the offer wasn't enough to get them to actually pull the trigger on it, right? Did I read that right?
Sort of.
So
For the most
Tony's
part.
out, and now I'm saying to myself, from a Yankee perspective, we'll do the Mets in a second, who's the big fish for the Yankees? And other than Soto, and that's going on into week number 3 now, who are the Yankees going
Frankie
after?
Montas is probably the guy they want to target because I think when you look at the Yankees' biggest need, it's not always about stars. Obviously, Juan Soto is a great player.
Sure.
Shohei Ohtani is a great player. He's a freak show because he does things we've never seen before. So if you have a chance to add any of those guys, you move heaven and earth. I think we all agree. But when you look at need right now that the Yankees acquired Andrew Benintendi and they acquired Scott Efros, which is a help for their bullpen, I think their clear priority is a middle-of-the-rotation arm.
Got it.
So the number one guy available, in my opinion, is Frankie Montas. I would not want Noah Syndergaard. If I'm a Yankee fan, I don't want anything to do with Noah Syndergaard.
Neither do I, as a matter of fact. Like, I don't want to. He shouldn't be allowed in the 5 boroughs ever again, but that's another story for another day.
So I think their target right now, and I think it's what most Yankee fans want or feel this team needs, would be a guy in this rotation you could slot either right behind Garrett Cole or right behind Nestor Cortez at this point.
Sure.
Because look at their rotation. Luis Severino's hurt. Jamison Tyone went through a funk.
Yep.
Jordan Montgomery, who looked good the other day till he ran into the fifth inning, but he has struggled recently.
Right.
I think for the first time all year, you look at the Yankee rotation and say, hey, they could use an upgrade.
Here's the reality, Yankee fans. You're not going to be happy at 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Why
That's
do you
my
say
gut.
that? Why do you say that?
Because if the New York Yankees were in on the Ohtani potential trade and didn't make an offer good enough to get him, and I do believe the Yankees probably made a legitimate offer. I don't think they offered, Montgomery. They made a legitimate offer.
They offered their
prospects.
entire farm system, I'm
But
sure.
I don't know that they did. So that
Well, then you
tells
weren't
me,
getting him.
Yeah, but that's the rub to me.
What?
So if the report is that the Yankees were in and they were one of the 3 finalists to get Ohtani while he was still available for trade, what if 2 things happened here? Either A, the Yankees value their prospects a lot greater than the Angels did, or 2, they didn't make a good enough offer.
You're leaving out part 3, which
What's
I think is the
part
right.
three?
The Angels were never going to trade him.
Why engage then?
Why
Why go through that?
To dip your toe in the pool. Just to see. Let me see what the water feels like. But the Angels of Anaheim, with that owner who has no idea what he's doing in Artie Moreno, we're never going to trade Shohei Ohtani. So I wouldn't put that on the Yankees. I wouldn't put it on the Mets. I wouldn't put it on anybody else not making a big enough offer. I think it came down to the fact that the Angels decided we're not trading our two-way superstar.
Well, to me, it means the Yankees are getting Soto.
That's
because if
first
they
of
didn't
all,
make a good
hold
enough
on, hold
offer to
on.
get Ohtani,
No.
they're not going to make a good enough offer to
You're
get
wrong
Soto.
about that. Let's move to Soto. What I read about the Soto situation is that Mike Rizzo may not love Anthony Volpe as much as the Yankees
Which
do.
goes to my first thing. Maybe the Yankees value some of their guys higher than other teams
Every
do.
team will value Yankee and Met prospects differently. It's not uniform.
Right.
The view that Mike Rizzo has, who's got his, cut his teeth in scouting, may be very different than the view of the Angels or any other team. But Ohtani and Soto, you got to put to the side. Those are luxury items. Those are, oh my God, generational players
and they're
are
not
available.
getting either one of them.
Right. But that's not their need. The need before tomorrow night, I think, is another arm in this rotation.
Right.
They address the bat need by getting Benintendi. The Mets, on the other hand, it's
Who,
different.
by the way, gets on base like 7 times a game, although it's all walks lately. But the dude's on base all the time.
Right. He's
Yeah.
a Gold Glove defensive left fielder. It was a good, solid move. It's a move they needed to make. But what you offer for Frankie Montas is far different than what you offer for Juan Soto or
Sure.
Shohei Ohtani.
I appreciate
And that's
that.
what we have to focus on. This is not about star power. As exciting as it would be for the Mets or Yankees to trade for Soto and Ohtani, that's not the need. The Yankees are 69-34. The Mets are 64-37. It's about what fits this puzzle best for them to win a championship.
Yeah.
For the Yankees, it's an arm in the rotation. For the Mets, it's a bullpen arm and maybe a right-handed bat.
It is funny, though, over the course of the last couple weeks, and certainly after this weekend, even though the Yankees did take 3 out of 4, they just didn't finish off the sweep when Holmes, spit the bit yesterday. It's really interesting to me. There's such a difference right now between Met fans and Yankee fans in that the Mets sweep the Marlins. Good job. And they should. They're a better team. And I know every Met fan I know, 6 in a row now, feeling pretty good as we move inching closer to the big 5-game series against Atlanta, which will have a lot to say as far as whether or not they win the division.
And
or
you've
not.
got the next 2 nights featuring Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom,
Right.
just like we fantasized.
It's fascinating to me because all of a sudden I'm getting text messages. Oh, how you like us now? Oh, you picked the wrong team. Like legitimate diehard Met fans,
Yeah.
and I appreciate it. The Mets are almost 30 games over 500. That's happened once in their franchise's history. So you're going into uncharted territory, and you should feel very good about
Oh,
yourself.
thank you for giving us
But
permission.
there's a level right now of this, and you know you're part of it too.
Of what? I'm excited.
There's like this new kind of secret cockiness.
Yes.
That's inching up. Whereas Yankee fans, even though they took 3 out of 4 over the weekend from Kansas City, Yankee fans are feeling like, we're broken. It's really interesting.
Well, I think there's 2 reasons for that. And I'm not saying this is fair, but I'm going to try to get in the head of the Yankee fan. They won 3 out of 4 against the Kansas City Royals. I know Sunday was a big disappointment, and maybe there's some fear
Especially
about Clay
after
Holmes.
the Rizzo home run, you take the lead, you're all set, let's go.
And when I defended Clay Holmes a few weeks ago saying, don't worry, my defense of him was, well, they're not hitting the ball hard off of him. Well,
Right.
he's ahead of Salvador Perez 0-2, 1-2, and he's got a sinker right down the middle, and for the first time all year, Clay Holmes gives up a home run. That's a little worrisome. But I think deep down what worries the Yankee fan are their failures against the Astros, and to a lesser degree, the sweep at the hands of the Mets.
The
but
Mets
more
series,
so the Astros.
The Mets series didn't help it, but I agree with you 100%. Coming out of the All-Star break, losing the doubleheader to Houston, like they've lost virtually every other game to Houston, the games they've lost, close games, can't get the big hit, can't get the big out, whatever the case may be. But there's a feeling, a lot of it's injury-based, to be fair, but there's a feeling right now amongst you Yankee fans where you're worried. You think the team is broken.
Are you?
And the Met fan right now feels like they're on top of the world.
Well, we're in completely different situations. I'll ask you as a Yankee fan. Garrett Cole the other night, how did he do? How did he do?
You know how I feel
He
about
ran
Garrett
into
Cole.
trouble.
Yes.
That worries you. You've said all year you don't trust Garrett Cole,
I do not trust
right?
Garrett Cole. Nestor's my guy right now.
Okay. So you don't trust Garrett Cole. The rotation has run into bumps and bruises based on health and performance.
Yeah.
The bullpen all of a sudden doesn't feel like the same strength it was a few months ago. And even though we're about to witness the end of the Gallo era and Benintendi's in left and Judge continues to have this historical season, there's nothing you can do over the next 2 months that's going to eliminate the fact that the Astros beat your ass.
That's right.
And it sucks because there's nothing you could do about it. But I think until October rolls around, there's going to be a fear in your mind.
I think fear may not be the right word, but maybe it is the right word. It's fascinating to me that the Yankees are going to cruise through August, whatever the record is. And I know the next couple weeks they're playing a lot of winning teams. So to me, it's almost irrelevant. Play 500 ball, maintain a 9, 10, 11 game lead.
But Craig, none of those
you.
winning teams impact you the way the Astros do.
I agree, Evan.
They don't.
I'm with you 100%. There's a gnawing feeling amongst Yankee fans. And by the way, yesterday's loss plays into it because Clay Holmes didn't get the job done. Mm-hmm. There's a gnawing feeling right now amongst Yankee faithful that we're broke, whereas the New York Met fan is like in a candy shop right now.
Well, first of all, the New York Mets, after coming out of the All-Star game looking like dog you-know-what against San Diego, win that Sunday night game, sweep the New York Yankees, and really the story of this weekend against the Marlins was the way they won Friday. They're down 3-0 to the future NL Cy Young Award winner. We're all assuming the same thing.
Right.
Letdown Central, they're going to lose the opener.
We said it going into the game that if there was going to be a letdown, that game was prime for it.
So what do they do after they're down 3-0 immediately? They come back and tie it. Then they're down again. They come back and tie it.
Yeah.
Nimmo hits the home run. Carrasco's brilliant on Saturday. They just dominate yesterday. And all of a sudden, the Mets have a 6-game winning streak for the second time this year. But here's the real exciting part. Here's the real reason why I'm excited and Met fans are excited. It's not just 64 and 37. It's not just 6 in a row. It's the fact that tonight in Washington, Max Scherzer, and tomorrow night in Washington, for the first time in over a year, Jacob deGrom!
Yeah, well, listen, I hope he doesn't disappoint you. 877-337-6666. Evan's right. And I know there's a lot of people using that bad cliche. The New York Mets made the single best acquisition right before the break.
I don't do that. And I want to make something
There's a
clear.
lot of people saying the New York Mets getting DeGrom back supersedes any other acquisition.
Listen, I'm excited Jake's back, but I don't want to hear that as an excuse from Billy Epler, who better join us after the trade deadline in a few days so he could either get his bouquet of flowers or take his ripping. This team, and I love this team, needs to add a bullpen arm. And I don't want to hear, well, we're getting Trevor May back. We're getting Jacob. No. I don't want to hear any of that. They need to add a reliever before the deadline tomorrow night at 6, period.
Well, we're going to get all your calls. If you're a Yankee fan, can you come to the table and admit that you're concerned that you feel the team is broke? If you're a New York Met fan, what's it like living in Shangri-La? What's that like? 27 games, over 500, getting Jacob deGrom back, getting ready for a back-to-back Scherzer deGrom. Pop goes the weasel. How does that feel? Met fans? We'll get all your calls. We got lots cooking, including, of course, the Deshaun Watson stuff that everyone seems to have an opinion on. Why, I don't know, but everyone seems to have something to say about it. I'm just glad it guarantees the Jets are going to be no worse than 1-1 after 2. And that's how I view things. We'll get all your calls.
They better be.